Alright, so what thoughts, experiences, feelings, ideas running through your head as you've watched that twice?
I have a question.
Yep.
Does surviving come at a cost?
Does surviving come at a cost? And what makes you pose that question?
Because it started with like just the river and its trees and the beauty of nature, but then evolving, and when we evolve, we need more to survive, and we adapt to those things. So if we don't have them, we cannot survive. And if we were to get rid of all those things that have shown when it ruined the river, if we were to go back to that, would we not be able to survive?
So our survival has meant that we've led to some destruction of nature, of the river, of the environment in general. And now that we're here, you're thinking, are you posing the question, can we ever go back? Or are you thinking, or are you making the claim we can't go back?
I'm making the claim that we can't.
We can't go back to how we were before we started building, industrialising everything. Does anyone agree with that or disagree with that? Any thoughts, ideas that might connect? Well, Zoe's claim was that we can't go back to how it was before industrialisation. So before we started building things and tearing down trees in order to create island.
I feel that although I think it would be really hard for us to do that, but if we needed to go back to our industrial place and start working, I feel like people would have some knowledge. People go fishing quite a lot, so they know how to catch food. So I feel like it wouldn't be impossible. It would definitely be quite different, but I feel like people probably would figure out a way. It would be a lot different to what they did. We wouldn't build in the same way. We would have a lot more diseases than back then. So I feel that we probably could go back, but it would be harder.
So you're sort of agreeing with Zoe that it would be very hard to get out of a city sort of living, but you think we could do it, and Zoe thinks we can't go back. Do you want to build on that?
I agree with the fact that it would be very hard but probably possible. But the thing is, our society is built on a certain way where there's money and currencies, and when it was only the Aboriginal, only the native peoples, there wasn't that form of currency, so I feel like it would be really hard to go back to that, and people would feel, I guess, more trapped in Australia, because if we went completely back to how it was, we wouldn't have like aeroplanes or anything, so we couldn't really get out of Australia, which some people would not like enjoy.
So sort of connecting to a few ideas throughout our day of technology and progress. One example of that is money. Money didn't always exist, currency didn't always exist. And then you're connecting with these two and their ideas around how difficult it would be to go back to a system where we didn't have money. Right, so I'm wondering, Adele, if you might tell me, what do you think it's better for us to be living in nature, in the natural environment, Or do you think it's better for us to be living in a city or suburb type environment? What do you think?
Probably nature because then we have all the supplies that we already need instead of building more things, and that we don't have to destroy anything because we already have it.
So you think nature provides us with all the resources we could possibly need, and we should live in a more natural environment? That would be better. Thank you, Max.
We've already adapted to the city life, so it may be hard going to the nature.
What do you think might make it hard? So, Caitlin has said
Relying
money.
on technology.
Yeah, so it probably connects with our first discussion as well, that perhaps we're over-reliant on technology now. We don't do enough for ourselves. We let the technology do it for us. So,
With those guys' points with how it would be hard to go back, but we could. Like my main issue with going back, and it would be hard, is that it's we can't reverse what we've already done, and the point we made before with all the pollution and stuff, it could never go back. We're already done that damage. I don't think we could rewind.
So the reason you make the claim that we can't go back is you think there's too much damage already been done, too much pollution, too much land that's been chopped down and destroyed, that we can never go back to before that happened. Okay.
Just wanting to build on Max's idea. I agree that it would be very hard because we don't have the knowledge to, well we do, but then we also kind of don't have the knowledge to hunt our own food. We haven't really been taught to do that, and it isn't something that's been passed down through generations and generations, which would make it more difficult for us to provide for ourselves.
And that probably connects with someone who said over-reliance on technology. So we don't need to hunt anymore, we just go to a supermarket and buy our own food. So you think that's another example of an over-reliance on technology. Carla, were you about to? And so we've been talking a lot about we are destroying the environment and we are over-reliant on technology. But we haven't talked about the different kinds of we that we've been, that we could think about. So here we were talking about First Nations people and their perspective on the rivers, the land, Murray River, and its destruction, its industrialisation. So do you think that everything we've been talking about differs based on your identity, whether you're a First Nation person or whether you're an English coloniser? Does that make a difference to your perspective on all of these things? Environment, technology, land? What do you think, Kyla?
I feel like definitely nature would have a very different impact on First Nations people towards us. British colonisers didn't really see the land as a place to live or a home or something. They more used it as resources or food. As the First Nations people saw its home, their land, it wasn't their land, it was the Earth's land. They didn't have the right to overtake the food and the resources if they really didn't need it.
So they didn't have the right to do what they did if they didn't need it. But do you think they had the right to do it if they did need it?
Yes, I think that because quite often the Aboriginal or the First Nations people would never really take more than they needed. If they were going to go hunting, they wouldn't go kill 5 kangaroos just because they could. If they weren't going to eat it, they would kill maybe one, and that would be plenty for them.
Okay. And you think that's a better kind of lifestyle where you're not taking more than you needed? And so are you thinking sort of the issue with colonisation is that the English took more than they needed? if they had to come and work collaboratively and shared,
Yeah.
that would have been okay. But because they took more than they needed,
Yeah, and took advantage of the First Nations people.
I remember Isla where she said they took advantage of the First Nations people. I remember learning about it in school. The trade between, I'm not sure who, but they traded like items for a lot of land, and it was very unfair. And they just, because they didn't understand, they just took advantage of them and basically just completely took the land from them for an unfair amount of resources.
I think there's
Yeah, that's
something
Batman's Treaty
upstairs.
that you're talking
Yeah.
about, Batman's Treaty, yeah, and that's Melbourne they were talking about. And Batman came from Tasmania, and he didn't really have any right to be taking this land because the problem with Batman's Treaty suggests that there was somebody here using this land that they had to pay or give things to, which then voids the concept of terra nullius, which is what colonisation is founded on, like the idea that no one was using this country so it's free to take. So apart from the fact that swapping blankets and knives and machetes and stuff for Melbourne, the area that we call Melbourne, Aboriginal people would never give away their country because it's not theirs to give away. Like country is part of them; they are part of country. It's not like we see land as in ownership that can be traded. That's just so. Even if they could understand the language and could read and understand that, they would never have done that. So it was just an absolutely botched agreement. I'm really sorry, but we're going to have to move back downstairs.
One question, I just wanted to ask Ruby. One question. Do you think there is a way that we could sell land? Or do you think land is a kind of concept like, maybe it was Max before saying, we can't sell life. Life should never be paid for. Do you think something like the Murray River is something that can be sold or purchased? Or do you think it's something that money can't buy?
I don't know. I feel like my concept is kind of relating to hers, and I feel like it's a concept of us, so it should really.
So we can't purchase it, we can't buy it, no matter what the price would be. Thank you, Ruby. Alright, so we're in back.
Well done, everyone. Yeah, we're going to head back downstairs and we'll meet back in our little groups, have a chat, and then you're all going to share what you decide has been your big question, I believe.